Hi, I'm Carol Mbaha, and today we're going to be looking at the SLR Magic Anamorphot Anamorphic adapter. Now, when I first started filmmaking, one of the things that I found really interesting was aspect ratios and how just by changing an aspect ratio, things started looking a little bit different. Back in the days of Mini DV, which shot in a 4:3 standard definition ratio, I found that just by cropping and framing for 16:9 widescreen made things look a little less video-y to the viewer. You know, it still looked like video, but it felt a little bit more cinematic because it was widescreen and it was framed that way. When things started turning to HD, that's when I started cropping things into an anamorphic aspect ratio of 2:35:1 because that felt even more cinematic. You know, you'll frame it and you'll crop it for anamorphic and that's how you shoot it. But what you're doing is you're losing the top part and the bottom part of the screen. In some sense, you're kind of losing information that you've already shot. And when I started researching into what anamorphic actually meant and what anamorphic actually is, that's when I started discovering how this really interesting piece of glass, anamorphic glass, kind of revolutionized film as we know it and created that cinema look of anamorphic 2:35 CinemaScope aspect ratio and all the little things that came with shooting anamorphic. For anyone that's watched Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, is the anamorphic flares. Those are one of the things that are synonymous with anamorphic lenses. But then there's also all the little things like the way things kind of curve outwards and how bokeh tends to stretch in the background as opposed to just being soft. And these were all little things that I found not just interesting, but also very, very beautiful, you know, aesthetically. It was a look that I was trying to achieve. So in my quest to try and create the anamorphic look, the first thing I obviously tried to do was fake it because I'm a DIY filmmaker and I'm a low budget DIY filmmaker. I looked up tutorials online and checked out and tried making, you know, like streak filters, little filters that would just make light flare out in that kind of way, and little filters to make the bokeh kind of oval shaped and stretched out more. I did a bunch of these tests and they looked pretty good, but I still wanted to play around more with anamorphic itself. You know, I really wanted to get my hands on some anamorphic glass. So of course I hit eBay and started looking for anamorphic projection glass. This is a trend that's happened in the past couple of years where people would use anamorphic glass for projectors and then adapting it onto, you know, HD cameras to create that stretch. And I bought myself a Bell & Howell Filmorama, which was an interesting little lens. But one of the problems when it comes to buying, you know, these secondhand projection lenses is that the really, really good ones are insanely pricey. Sometimes the not so good ones are also insanely pricey. And then there's the stretch, because usually the stretch ratio on these projection glasses was 2 times. What happens is when you put it on 16:9, it stretches out like really wide, insanely wide. A lot of these projection glasses also have their own focus ring. So you would not only have to focus your own lens, but you'd have to focus the anamorphic lens as well, which would make focusing really, really tricky. And then for close focus, you need to get diopters. And then SLR Magic announced that they were coming out with this, the Anamorphot, which would be a brand new anamorphic lens adapter. And then finally, around early this year, they started putting up pre-orders. I really wanted to get my hands on one, and I put myself on the pre-order list. Now, there was a lot of trouble with the order for some reason. Like, first it was supposed to be shipped from America, and then the store in America wouldn't ship to Malaysia, and then I had to contact SLR Magic again and say, dude, come on, what's going on? And then finally they would ship it from Hong Kong, which I don't know why it wasn't shipped in the first place. And 2 months passed since I made that initial order and made payment, which really did bug me. It was getting up my ass, something chronic. And then the lens arrived, and within like half an hour of playing with it, I was totally in love, and I thought, okay, whatever. Took 2 months to get here, but now it's here and it's wonderful. So this is the glass, the SLR Magic Anamorphot right there, and it's quite ingeniously designed. So how it works is this would attach to your regular lens on your camera and then stretch out the image. Now, one of the things that was always tricky when it came to using projection lenses was that you need some kind of adapter to attach it on. So how this is designed is, it's got the glass over there which will stretch out the image, and then it's got these little pins here and a rotatey bit. The front is a 77mm thread, the back is 62, so you would need like a step-up ring or something to attach it to the front of your lens. Thankfully, SLR Magic actually packages 3 step-up rings designed for this together with the camera. So what you get is 3 step-up rings in 49, 52, and 58. The most common front filter thread size for a lot of classic lenses. Like this here, I have the SMC Takuma 50mm 1.4 in M42 mount attached onto this thing, and that's a 49mm filter thread. A lot of M42 lenses have a 49mm filter thread. So all I have to do is take out the 40, is this 49? Can't tell. Yeah, see it says 49 right over there. And this is one of those things I don't like about this. That sound. I'll get to that in a bit. Ouch. So attach that over onto the lens, keep it tight. Then all you do is attach the anamorphic lens onto that, screw it in, and voila, it's attached. Now, next thing you need to do is make sure it's aligned, because right now, as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but it doesn't look aligned. And if I switch this on and take some footage, you will see that everything's gone all sideways, slanty. And as I rotate that, I've loosened up the pins. You can see it's got this weird, woo, it's like a dream sequence. Trippy, someone's on acid. So you need to align these so that it is stretched out vertically. Many ways to go about doing this, but what I like to do is I prefer to just, let me just stop recording that. What I prefer to do is just look down the barrel, which is easy if it's facing me, and then just try and get it straight. Through there. Then you lock the pins. And voila. Try recording, make sure it's straight. And there you go. Ta-da! Anamorphic, simple as that. Now, one of the cool things that the lens has as well is it's got this near and normal little thing attached over there. That's kind of like a mini diopter inside. So if I have it set at normal right now, so if I'm focusing on the back there, there you go. And then if I want to focus to something closer, like Darth Vader over there, set that more to near, and then I just start trying to focus in and find the sweet spot. There we go. And that's one of the cool functions that's on this lens. So yeah, that was pretty simple for me to attach and to find a focus on, which if you've ever used anamorphic projection lenses is always kind of tricky. One of the cool things that I like about it, and one of the reasons why I fell in love with it instantly, was how quickly I could use it. You know, I just attached it, aligned it, and straight away I could start shooting stuff. It's designed to work best with a 50mm on full frame lens. So that's why I'm using this 50mm right now. And as you can see, there you go. Now, if you look at the door in the background there, see how it's kind of stretching out a bit. That's one of those really cool things that I like about anamorphic lenses, how things just kind of bend, and they bend outwards towards the viewer. You know, a lot of wide angle lenses usually bend inwards, away from the viewer, you know. So that's one of those things that's always kind of recognizable, one of those subtle things that's recognizable with anamorphic lenses. The background, because it's a 1.33 stretch, it's not a very obvious stretchy bokeh, but it's still quite nice. And then of course the thing that everyone's always trying to find when shooting anamorphic is the flare. There we go. Now I've set up a white light in the background there so you can see the flare, and thanks to that white light I can actually check on something else. Now you see there the flare is kind of slanting, so this is probably not fully aligned properly. And it's usually the most recommended way to align the lens is to use a lens flare and then try and get it as horizontal as possible and then locking it in. So there, the lens flare looks a little bit more straight, and there you go. And one thing you'll notice, the lens flare is blue. It's the coating that's making it blue, and it's trying to give that very modern cinematic look of the blue lens flare, regardless of the color of the light, because I've got another light up here, which is a tungsten light. If I point it up there, as you can see, the flare is blue as well. Whee! See, like, as I go to the edges there, you can see some of the actual lens flare color that you're getting from the lens. But as you go around, ta-da! And you'll also notice it's not an overabundance of lens flare. You know? It's not like a crazy J.J. Abrams lens flare. Depending on how you shoot it and what you're aiming it at, and also depending on what kind of lens you're pairing it with. You know, different lenses will give different types of flare, or different levels of flare. So as you can see, it's very, very subtle. You know, it's there, but it's not taking over the entire screen like Star Trek. Although I will defend that movie to the grave because I think those lens flares are really, really damn cool. Whee! I'm gonna stop that now.